There's a girl who hides behind a mask every single day. Not because she's sick, not because of a trend, but because of something someone said to her that stuck like a wedge and never left. And then one completely random lunch break, one guy walked through a rooftop door and saw something everyone else had missed entirely.
Everyone's got their thing. Some people are into games, plastic models, cool stuff, cute stuff. But this guy, his thing is a little harder to explain. And it all starts on a rooftop at lunch. She's eating alone up there. Black nails wrapped around chopsticks, dark hair spilling over her shoulders, earrings catching the light. He spots her mid-bite, and something about the way those teeth catch the food stops him cold. Those aren't normal teeth. They're sharp, razor sharp, like a shark. And for some reason, he absolutely cannot look away, which she clocks immediately and calls him out for it without missing a beat. He doesn't deny it. Instead, he just blurts out the truth. He loves shark teeth. She stares at him like he's lost his mind, chopsticks frozen mid-air, completely blindsided by the most unhinged compliment she's ever received. She threatens to kill him if he tells anyone. He responds by going full heart eyes. This is already a disaster, and they've known each other for 30 seconds. She's Kisaragi Aisu, and apparently she eats every lunch alone, even though she has plenty of friends. He files that away. He also files away that those teeth are, and these are his words, supremely powerful. He starts showing up every day. She keeps eating. He keeps watching with that dumb grin on his face, completely in his own world, whispering things like wonderful and phenomenal while she crunches through a rice cracker. The crunch of those shark teeth shattering the cracker sends him into another dimension entirely. He collapses dramatically. She tells him to stop freaking her out. He tells her the sound is everything to him. She tells him he's gross. He agrees that he's gross, then immediately begs her to let him keep watching her eat. It's unhinged. It's kind of sweet. She says not a chance in hell, but she doesn't actually leave either. He comes back the next day with a secret weapon, a limited cheese melt curry bread from the school shop, 4 per day only. He got the tip from someone named Mamiya, and he is not above using food as bait. She eyes it hard from behind her mask, clearly struggling. She's been wearing a mask this whole time, and now he's brought something she actually wants, which means she'd have to take the mask off to eat it. He already knows exactly what he's doing. She gives in, and she doesn't know it yet, but she's been spending her lunch money on food for him this whole time, which means she has nothing left for herself. When he finds out, he completely loses it. She's been going hungry just to keep feeding him things to watch her eat. He looks genuinely horrified, then guilty, then scrambles to fix it. The dynamic just flipped entirely. He hands over his own untouched lunch. Chopsticks not even split yet, completely clean, no germs. His delivery is blunt. Go on, eat. She stares at him with wide eyes, something shifting in her expression. She notices he hasn't been eating lunch since the very first day they met. She confronts him about it, and he brushes it off, tells her to just enjoy her food. But she's already thinking about it, already suspicious. She issues a full ultimatum, tell her what's going on, or she stops letting him watch her eat. He panics instantly. Losing this daily ritual is apparently his worst nightmare, and it shows. He stumbles through an explanation, flustered and caught off guard, and she watches him with that sharp, unreadable expression she always wears. But there's something softer in it now, something she hasn't quite named yet. They sit together on the rooftop under a wide, cloud-streaked sky, and for a moment neither of them says anything. He grins with those shark-tooth descriptions still running through his head. She quietly crunches another cracker. Something between them is quietly, inevitably changing. She tells him to keep his crackers. He asks if she wants another one tomorrow. She calls him a dumbass. He laughs like she said something wonderful, because to him, she kind of did. The narration closes on a line that reframes everything. The sounds of youth played off of sharp teeth. These two weird, lonely rooftop kids and their bizarre little ritual. It's only just beginning, and neither of them is ready for where this goes. Something shifted in him after that rooftop meal. Sitting there watching her eat, he started turning something over in his head. Something he couldn't shake loose. He only ever got to see Kisaragi without her mask when she was up here, eating alone, just the two of them. That realization hit different than he expected. Every other moment of her day, the mask was on. In class, with friends, walking the halls. The rooftop was the only place she let it come off, and somehow he'd become the only person who got to see that version of her. He offers her a bite of his food and she passes. He says he gets it. He just really loves watching her go all in on her meals, and he doesn't want to get in the way of that. She stares at him completely flat-faced, having absolutely no idea what to do with a person like this. Back inside the school, he's turning it over harder now. There's something underneath the mask beyond just teeth, something she doesn't want people knowing. He can feel it, even if he can't name it, and pressing her directly clearly isn't going to work. That's when Mamiya Shizuku steps into the picture. Kisaragi's closest friend, soft smile, warm energy, and absolutely brimming with information he doesn't have. She already knows he'd been asking around about Kisaragi's food preferences. She finds this hilarious. She pulls him aside because she has things to say, and she wastes no time. She tells him about a day walking home when guys from another school approached them, and Kisaragi was genuinely rattled in a way Mamiya had never seen before. Something about those guys shook her. He already knows this story a little. He'd asked her about it, and she gave him the classic, "It's nothing." But it's obviously not nothing. His jaw tightens just thinking about it, fists clenched, and Mamiya reads him like a book. She tells him something that stops him cold. She thinks he might be able to do something she can't. Kisaragi, for reasons Mamiya can't fully explain, has never let any guys get close to her. He is, apparently, the first exception. That has to mean something. He immediately protests that he's pretty sure he's just annoying her. Mamiya gives him a slow, knowing smile and tells him she really doesn't think that's true. She's never seen Aishu bother with any other guy the way she bothers with him. The subtext couldn't be louder if it screamed. He's trying to process all of this and doing a terrible job of it. Shark teeth keep drifting through his mind like a daydream. And then Mamiya asks him point blank if he actually likes Kisaragi. He chokes. He cannot come out with the truth. Not like that. Not directly. Then she marches him straight to Kisaragi's classroom. He walks in trying to play it cool, says he's only here for Kisaragi and everyone else should just ignore him. The other girls look at each other like he's grown a second head. Kisaragi tells him to get out. He gets physically ejected from the classroom, shoved out the door, told idiot on his way through the frame. He stumbles into the hallway, slightly dazed, but something in his expression has gone quiet and serious. He decides then and there that he's not giving up on this. He starts thinking about what Mamiya said, about the guys from another school, about the mask, about all the moments in Kisaragi's day that he's never been part of. What do those shark teeth look like when she's laughing with friends and the mask is hiding everything? The question won't leave him alone. He corners her again, this time with a real question. He tells her straight out. He wants to see her live her life without wearing the mask. He wants to see all the different sides of her. He wants them to try for that kind of life together. She stares at him like he just said the most ridiculous thing she's ever heard. Then quietly, with those sharp teeth just barely visible at the corner of her mouth, she says she doesn't hate spending time with him like this. It's the softest thing she's ever admitted to him, and it costs her something to say it. But even as he processes that warmth, something darker underneath it registers too. He can sense, and she even reflects on it herself, that something inside her has made her believe this is just the way things have to be. No way, it can't happen. That thought is living in her head, rent-free. He doesn't know what it is yet. He doesn't know why she wears the mask everywhere except that rooftop, or what those guys triggered in her, or what she's convinced herself she can't have. But he knows that lonely, melancholy smile she sometimes wears, and it won't leave him alone. He goes back to her on the rooftop the next day, and she's already calling him gross and telling him to get out of her face. He agrees enthusiastically that he is, in fact, gross, and can she please eat anyway? She looks away with something that might almost be fondness hiding behind irritation. Mamiya's words are still echoing, that it might be hard for Kisaragi to say things directly, but that if anyone could get through to her, it might be him. He doesn't know if he believes that yet, but he keeps showing up, and she keeps letting him, and something in that feels like it matters. She says she doesn't hate this. He holds on to that like it's the most important thing anyone's ever said. And somewhere underneath all her armor and sharp edges and that constant mask, there's a version of Kisaragi Aisu that's already starting to let him in, whether she's ready to admit it yet or not. He finally knows. The mask, the walls, the constant no way and it can't happen. It all traces back to one person. Someone who used to point at her teeth and laugh, calling her a dinosaur, getting everyone else to join in. He just needed to hear it to understand everything. She tells him plainly she couldn't stand it, so she started wearing a mask, not just around strangers, around everyone. Her family was one thing, but the rest of the world was another category altogether. Even Mamiya, even the people she genuinely considers her friends. He's sitting with that now, feeling the weight of it. She's not hiding her teeth because she thinks they're ugly. She's hiding them because someone made her feel like a joke, and she never quite recovered from that. The fear isn't that people would hate them, it's the what if it happens again. Then those guys from another school appear, and one of them starts talking about Kisaragi Aisu, like she's a punchline waiting to happen. Razor-sharp chompers, dinosaur teeth. Don't you feel sorry for her? Said laughing in front of her face, like she isn't a person standing right there. Something goes very cold in him. He grabs the guy by the collar without really deciding to. His eyes go flat and serious in a way that shocks everyone present, including her. This is not the goofy rooftop guy she knows. This is something else entirely. She watches him from behind her mask, something cracking open a little in her chest. The thought surfaces quietly but clearly. She didn't think there'd be a guy who'd get that angry for her sake. She genuinely didn't think that was something that happened. He backs off before it turns into a real fight, but barely. Afterward, she looks at him differently. And he stumbles through admitting, yeah, he was mad, anyone would have been. She says he was pretty far from his usual doofus self. And when he agrees with a self-deprecating laugh, she makes a small sound. Just barely. Almost nothing. But he heard it. He catches that little laugh like it's the most precious thing in the world and immediately loses his mind about it. She tries to deny it. He has already mentally declared this a national holiday. This is the version of him she absolutely did not expect, and it's breaking down something she'd kept carefully in place. She looks like she really wants to know something now. He clocks it. He knows when it's okay to push and when it isn't, but she beats him to it, says he looks like he wants to ask. So she starts talking, walking side by side down the street, and the truth just comes out. It was him. The reason she keeps saying no way and it can't happen. The reason she's convinced herself that something good just can't exist for her. It's because of what that person did. She built a whole belief system around one person's cruelty, and she's been living inside it ever since. He pieces together his next move carefully. He can't just ask on the rooftop. That's not rooftop conversation. He can't ask to walk her home without getting shot down. He thinks it through, decides on something, and races to the school gate to intercept her before she leaves with Mamiya and the others. He yoinks her bag right out of her hands in front of everyone. It is absolutely a plan. She chases him, furious, demanding her bag back while he sprints ahead. It's chaotic and loud and ridiculous, but he gets her alone, walking away from the group, which was exactly the point. Those guys from another school show up again, same ones as before, and one of them clocks who he's with. He starts up. That Kisaragi Aisu chick, don't you feel sorry for her? Teeth like those. Big laugh, big performance. He goes still, and Kisaragi flinches, grabs his sleeve without thinking. He steps in front of her, not loudly, not with a speech, just physically puts himself between her and those words. He gets her out of there, walks her away from it, and hands her bag back without making a big deal of it. She starts to say thanks, catches herself, and almost falls apart, trying to not say it. Mamiya has been watching all of this from a distance and finds it extremely funny. She pulls him aside later and lays it out clean. She's too scared to do her own dirty work, so she's been sending him in as a proxy. She finds herself a little guilty about it. She finds herself a little charmed by him too, if she's honest. He asks Mamiya why she picked him specifically. She says it plainly. Some things are just hard for friends to push on, and some conversations can only happen between people who aren't already inside the dynamic. He doesn't have close friends himself, he admits. She tells him that's normal. Then she says something that sticks. She doesn't think anyone would be bothered by a friend worrying about them. Probably. It lands differently than she intended, and he walks away turning it over, because he's not just worried about Kisaragi. It's becoming something else entirely, and he knows it. He ends up back on the rooftop to think. He sits alone, with the sky overhead, working through the whole tangled mess of it. The mask, the reason behind it, what he wants to do about it, whether he's brave enough to do it. He's not the type to overthink things usually, but this is different. When he finally sees her again, he says it outright. He wants her to live without the mask, not just on the rooftop, not just with him, everywhere. He wants to see all the different versions of her that exist under there. He's asking for something huge, and they both know it. She goes completely still, her eyes go wide. The question is sitting in the air between them, and neither of them is quite ready for what comes next. Because for the first time, instead of shutting it down with no way, she doesn't immediately say no. This is where it actually started. Before the rooftop lunches, before the rice crackers and the curry bread, there was a day he wandered up to the roof during lunch with nowhere else to be, and found her sitting there completely alone. And he was struck by how incredibly small she looked. He'd been searching for her during lunch break because she always vanished from class. He figured that was his opening, a chance to actually talk to her without an audience. He wound up on the roof mostly by accident, running out of time and thinking he'd just eat up there. And then the door opened, and then he found her. He didn't catch her face in that moment, but it was her standing there at the window, holding her mask in her hand, just standing there looking out at something he couldn't see. She was just so small, he can't describe how alone she looked. And from that day on, his thoughts kept drifting back to her. Now he's running, catching his breath in an alleyway, the whole confrontation still ringing in his ears. The guy laughed about it, called it no big deal, said they were just kids, told Kisaragi to grow up and get over it. while laughing at the fact that she never did. He wanted to put his fist through something. He'd tracked down the guy who started it all, the one from grade school who used to call her a dinosaur, who got everyone laughing at her teeth, who turned something she was born with into a thing she learned to be ashamed of. And the guy has the nerve to stand there and smirk about it. He grabs the guy by the collar and tells him to apologize. The guy acts confused, plays dumb, says he was just telling the truth. He doesn't let go. He says it again, apologize for making fun of her teeth. The guy laughs harder, which is maybe the worst thing he could have done. He shouts it at full volume, right in the guy's face. Those teeth are cute. They're adorable. They are the most adorable teeth in the entire world. And don't he dare say otherwise. The guy flinches. Kisaragi, somewhere nearby, hears every word of it. The guy still won't back down, keeps deflecting, keeps laughing, tells him to mind his own business. He says plainly, your grade school heckling is why she hides behind a mask every single day, even around her own friends. How is that not reason enough to apologize? The guy goes quiet, then walks away. No apology, just, see you never, freak. He stands there in the alley afterward, adrenaline still running, fists still tight. He thinks about it. If it weren't for that one person, if it weren't for that one awful running joke in elementary school, Kisaragi would be out there right now, laughing with her friends. No mask, no hiding, just herself. He thinks about writing an apology down and delivering it himself, since showing up in person would probably just upset her more. He digs through his bag for paper. The back of a handout will do. But the guy refuses to write anything, refuses to apologize for anything, and eventually just walks away, still laughing. And somewhere in that alley, something in him settles into something quiet and certain. He just wants Kisaragi to be able to enjoy her time at school. That's it. That's all he wants. It's not complicated and it's not strategic. It's just the truth, sitting right at the center of him. He finds the guy one more time, calmer now, and lays it out flat. He's got his thing, you've got yours. Even if yours is objectively worse. What you said upset her. That's reason enough to apologize. He tries one more time to get him to write something down. He'll deliver it himself. The guy refuses. Fine. He walks away from it, still carrying the weight of how unfair all of it is. The whole thing started so small. Some kid in grade school deciding her teeth were funny. And it burrowed in so deep she's still carrying it years later. That kind of thing stabs in when you're young, he says. It sticks like a wedge and never leaves, especially that kind of cruelty. He ends up walking her home that evening, and she doesn't ask questions about what happened. She just says thanks, tells him she can handle the rest of the way alone. He tells her to take care. She waves and says it back, and turns to go. He knows she's smiling underneath the mask right now, her sharp teeth pulled into a wide grin, that energy she gets when she's pleased about something, but won't say so out loud. He knows it. He just doesn't get to see it, and he thinks quietly to himself. It's a shame he didn't actually get to see that, but he's going to, someday. That much he's decided, walking home alone under the same sky she's walking under, thinking about a girl on a rooftop eating lunch by herself and how small she looked. He remembers that day like the first line of a story he hadn't known he was already in the middle of. The memory loops back, the empty rooftop, the mask in her hand, the way she stood there at the window. He went looking for her and found something he wasn't expecting. Not just the teeth, not just the face, but the loneliness underneath it all, and how badly he wanted to do something about it. That thought, the one that simply would not leave him, had been there from the beginning. After seeing that lonely, melancholy smile, after watching her sit alone on that rooftop day after day, he wanted to do something about it. And now, one alley confrontation later, he's still moving in that direction, one stubborn step at a time. He's a doofus. He admitted it himself. He's also the only person who chased down the source of her pain and told someone point blank, loudly and without embarrassment, that her teeth are the most adorable thing in the world. She heard that. She's smiling about it right now. And somewhere down the road, he's going to get to see that smile. Mask off, teeth out, the whole thing. This is the chapter where we finally learn his name. And the way it happens, shouted in a dirty alley by a girl shaking like a leaf, mask half off, sharp teeth visible for anyone to see, might be the most significant moment in this entire story so far. It starts with those guys from another school finding them again. They want a look at the teeth. They keep pushing, keep goading, keep demanding Kisaragi take her mask off like it's something she owes them. He steps in front of her and tells them to shut up. She tries to tell him to just ignore it and walk away. She tells him she remembers everything that guy said to her back then. Gross, ugly, dinosaur, freak, every word of it. She remembers the sneering laugh. She remembers the way it felt. But there's one thing she doesn't remember, she says. One thing that doesn't exist in that whole ugly catalog of memories. She pulls her mask down, right there, in front of everyone. Her sharp teeth on full display, no cover, no hiding. The guys gawk. He freezes, and she looks right at him and says it with a clear, open, genuine smile. She didn't think there'd ever be a guy who'd get that angry for her sake. He caught a glimpse of something in that alleyway that he's been trying to figure out how to hold on to ever since. She looked right at him, really looked, and something shifted between them. He can barely process it. She's looking at him with those big eyes, and something is different, and he has absolutely no idea what to do with that. She reaches out and grabs his sleeve, very quietly, and says, "Hey, just hey." He short-circuits completely. She tells him she thought those teeth weren't cute, that what's-his-name always said they weren't, but he thinks they are. And girls, she says softly, prefer hearing that they're cute, even her, even with teeth like these. He did not see that coming. He is visibly malfunctioning. He'd called those teeth adorable in the middle of a shouting match without a second thought, and now she's standing in front of him in the sun saying it meant something, and he cannot figure out what his face is supposed to be doing. But she's not done. She looks at him, really looks, and says she's really sorry he got beat up on her account. He tells her never mind that. She says she had a feeling and came looking for him. He says never mind that either. She says she's sorry for doing all of this on her own. He says to please stop saying sorry about it. He admits he didn't fight back because he figured landing a punch would probably just upset her more. She makes a sound that he is absolutely not expecting. A small, genuine laugh. Surprisingly wise words for an idiot. He demands to know if that was funny. She keeps laughing. He decides this is fine, actually. She's shaking. She held herself together through all of it, and now that it's over, she's releasing it, her hands trembling, the adrenaline finally crashing. She'd faced down a traumatic memory in real time, and he'd thought she'd be fine, because she seemed confident. She points this out, exasperated. He apologizes, also exasperated. The guy who started it all is still getting dragged away by his friends, still insisting he doesn't understand what the problem was. He stopped listening. It doesn't matter anymore. What matters is standing next to him, still a little shaky but upright, looking at him with something new in her expression. She walks with him now, actually, walks next to him, not at a distance, not pretending they're not together. The mood is different, and they both know it. Hot out, he says, trying to restart normal. She looks at him sideways with those eyes, and he genuinely panics inside. What is this? What is happening? She tells him she thinks his teeth are cute. He stops walking. He turns around. He is absolutely not handling this with any dignity. She says it again, clearer. Those teeth are cute. Adorable, actually. She'd say the most adorable in the world, but that might be a little much. He makes a noise that is not a word. They say goodbye at her door, and she thanks him for walking her home, and he says no problem, and she turns to go, and he watches her leave. She's smiling underneath that mask. He knows it. Her shark teeth are pulled into a wide grin right now, and he's ashamed he didn't get to see it, but he walked her there, and that counts for something. She turns back and calls out, "You too," when he tells her to take care. Just 2 words, but it's the warmest she's ever been with him out loud, and he knows she means it, and that's more than enough to carry home. The alley was just the beginning of something that neither of them has named yet. Back on that rooftop, eating alone, a moment that started everything. Him walking up the stairs at random, finding her there, being struck by how incredibly small she looked. He didn't know then that this was the start of a story. He didn't know her name. She didn't know his. Now she does. And in that alley, for the first time, she used it, Yamato.